This is Passengers United.
Transit Committee meeting. Before we begin, I guess we'll just do some introductions. To my far right is Mr. Joel Burse. To my close right is Ms. Dawn Falco. And then to my left we have Jean Dorset. So before we begin, I think we're just gonna have some words from NICE's CEO, Jack Kazuz. He's gonna go over some important new updates, and then we'll go into some public comments and then some board comments. So, Mr. Kazuz?
Thank you, Ms. Enright. I appreciate it very much, and appreciate everybody being here today. As you know, our long-serving chairman, Sheldon Shrinkel, resigned his position to take another position in another capacity within the county. We thank him for his long service in his volunteerism. I think he did a very good job in keeping us on point as far as our services go, and I've given him my thanks and appreciation, so I appreciate that very much. Today is really, we're going to talk about a few different things, some fairly simple housekeeping issues, but I want to make sure that we get together on a more set schedule, only because, hey, we can now that we're somewhat over the COVID restrictions. We'll still be more careful. We'll still space chairs out. We've got masks available outside and hand sanitizer. So today we are going to go over our quarterly scorecard. The document in front of you, which is the Transit Asset Management Plan and the Transit Agency Safety Plan. We'll have service updates, funding outlook, and we can talk about the potential MTA fare increase, but there's not much to talk about at this point. So we'll just get right to it. My presentation is relatively short. Our scorecard for last quarter, performance in general was very good. Our on-time performance finished out the year just under 90% at 88.48. We are going through an audit right now on our numbers. It looks like that number actually will end up being at 91% for the fourth quarter. So we're very happy with that. We'll continue to push that through the next year and look for ways to actually hopefully end at 95% on-time performance on our bus routes for next year. There are some possible ways to get that done. We have some good analysis to make that happen. Our missed pullouts, percentage of missed pullouts, were higher than we'd like it, but did not raise itself to a penalty. We hit within the goal within the parameters. Missed pullouts could mean a lot of different things, but the bottom line is that bus did not get out of the apron on time. So we count that as a miss. We hit our accident numbers, which is excellent. Our accident numbers are, again, leading the Northeast. They're extremely low and continue to be driven down by our safe practices. I'm pretty proud of that. On the paratransit side, the call-answer ratio continues to climb up to where we need it to be. I would always like to have it at 95%, so we still have a little bit to go, but we're above our goal. On-time performance again climbed a little bit to 83.83. Again, we'd like to hit 85% on our on-time performance in paratransit. We continue to work that. Missed pullouts again didn't hit us a reward or a penalty, but again on paratransit, just to be clear, no one missed a trip. The bus just didn't pull out on time for whatever reason. And then accident ratio climbed a little bit higher than I'd like it to in paratransit, but again, still within our parameters and still within national average. And then our productivity also stayed very high at 1.41 clients per trip. So overall, not a bad performance for the quarter, and it continues our run of seeing continuous incremental improvement over time in our performance. We continue to work those numbers continuously throughout the year. So what you have in front of you is two documents that we will turn into the FTA. The first is a transit asset management plan, and it's a plan that has to be developed by every agency that takes federal funds, owns and operates and manages capital assets used to provide federal transportation. It really just shows all the assets we own, and when I say we own, this Nassau County owns the assets, but how we have inventoried those assets and how we take care of those assets. Things like PMIs on vehicles and any other assets that we own. The second part of it is the Public Transit Agency Safety Plan. Again, it's our safety plan on how we approach safety issues and how we manage safety as a system continuously over time. We look for risks, we mitigate the risks, we prioritize the risks based on their potential safety impact. So how we do that, and that's what's in the plan there. So what I'm asking for now is really just the board's acknowledgement that they've received the plan. If at the end, Ms. Enright, I'll ask for that acknowledgement to go in record. So let's talk a little bit about the budget. This is not a new topic that we talk about every year at the same time. As we remember, we go back and we started in September, really, starting to work with the county and providing an operating budget for the following year to the county based on our projections on fare collection, our ridership, our fare collection, the cost of increases in healthcare and fuel and everything else. We give that to the county, and it goes through the county budget process, including NYFA. So right now we are kind of on the cusp of January, February, obviously. Nothing's been changed. What makes up the majority of our budget is what the state gives us as operating assistance, called STOA. So we're going to make some assumptions into the March budget, or into the March timeframe. And what we'll do is we'll get together in March, we'll make assumptions, we'll vote on the budget as it is, and then we'll go forward from there. Again, we talked about in the past, there is no plans for reduced budgets or reduced service at all. We're well managed by our county partners, and we've done a good job with efficiencies, so we should continue where we are. There's no reason to think we wouldn't. So we'll get, like I said, we'll get together in March. The final STOA number will come out that last week of March, so we'll implement that budget starting April 1st. Okay. I want to give everybody a service update in our riderships. We projected at the end of this year we would be at 80% rider recovery, and that's about where we are. We're at about 80%. It fluctuates a little bit. In the fall, it always goes up, regardless of COVID or not. It always goes up in the fall, and then it kind of squeaks down a little bit through December and January, but you can see in the blue, those were our numbers from last year, and in orange at the top are our numbers for this year. So we're at about 1.5-ish, so we're at about 80% recovery, like I said, and we're happy with that. It's leading the metro area recovery on bus transit. Anyone that touches New York City, Westchester ourselves, New Jersey Transit, we're right about at the top there. So that's good. People seem to be coming back on the vehicles. We are seeing some changes in the way people ride, but overall, again, it's still coming back strong. We'll anticipate probably an 85%. We'll be conservative, and we're anticipating 85% recovery for next year, or maybe 90, but depends on what the colleges do and what kind of incoming student load that they take on. That's a lot of our ridership. It also depends a lot on what the Long Island Railroad recovers. About 5% of that non-recovery, so if we took it, is riders not hitting Long Island Railroad anymore. So our connections to Long Island Railroad aren't as important. I'll say it that way. That sounds like an understatement, but those riders haven't come back full time yet. So we'll see how that kind of develops over the next year or so. Service updates, happy to say we've received 33 new Gillig buses just in the last 60 days. We're processing those buses. They always have to go through a DOT inspection again. They have to be licensed and on the road. So those are getting slowly put into service. They're replacing some of the older vehicles. So we're gonna have a fairly new fleet here. 50% of the fleet is relatively new. So we're happy about that. The new Gilligs have been received very well by the drivers and passengers. So from what I understand from drivers, they're a very smooth ride, which is excellent. So we're happy about that. No issues. The electric buses, some of you know about the BEV electric buses, battery electric buses, the 6 new Flyers. They've been delayed until Q1 sometime. We were supposed to receive the first one in November, and that's been pushed back. Supply chain issues have kind of really hinged on that and really kind of delayed us a bit on that. No issues. We got the portable charging stations delivered, and they're awaiting installation now. So we're going to figure out something to plug them into. So these portable charging stations look like short, squat refrigerators. They're on rollers. So we roll them to wherever garage needs them. As a bus is being serviced overnight, they plug in. And it's a slow charge though. So I believe, I have to look at the specs on it, but I believe it takes about 6 hours to only charge about 50% of that bus. So it's not an ideal solution. ABB chargers, which are the phase 1 chargers, those are large chargers with 2 charging hoses on them. Those have been delivered to us. They're awaiting the civil work, the groundwork, to be able to put those chargers in the ground. Again, no real rush there again because we have nothing to plug into them yet. So those will be installed. But everything's coming together, and we'll meet up on a date here sometime soon in Q1. We'll have those buses on the road, kind of shake them out, kind of understand what we can really expect out of them as far as range goes, and they'll be inserted into regular service. There's not necessarily initially going to be a separate route for them initially. So,
Excuse me, Jack.
yes, sir.
How much of the fleet is anticipated to become electric buses in the grand plan?
Well, in the grand plan, the first phase, we think we're going to get up to about 10% of the fleet. We have to remember that we are all CNG now, so our emissions is already 90% less than a diesel bus. So ideally, we would, it's somewhat difficult to kind of mix the 2 fleets, but ideally we get to about 10% and then decide from there what the next step is, what's the next technology, that sort of thing.
Has anybody communicated with the fire department as far as the fire marshal? Because we just had a major presentation from the Hicksville Fire Department that they are vehemently opposed to these kind of vehicles because if they go on fire, they require so much water that, let's say you have a car with batteries, if it's in your driveway, they now have a hood that they will throw on the car, drag it out to the street, and let it burn itself out because it requires too much. And it'll take about 12 hours for a car to finish burning.
Yeah, so yes, we have already started reaching out to different fire departments. Once we have a vehicle here, we have a whole safety plan that we'll be handing the fire departments. We'll invite them here, or we'll take the bus there so that they can learn more about it.
We realize Hicksville and Hempstead are probably the 2 most media, and Hicksville is, they're telling people don't get electric vehicles.
Well,
I'm just saying, that was the presentation we got, that they were so negative on it, because when it happens, and it's not a foreign thing for the battery to go awry.
Yeah, they do have a lot of the buses have a lot of safety cutoffs and circuit cutoffs that will hopefully mitigate those issues. But yes, we're concerned about it, and we've gone through the training, and we'll go through training, and we'll help train first
Because I
responders.
tease them, if it's cooking, they're gonna bring the hot dogs and the marshmallows and watch it.
I'll remember that. So let's go to service enhancements for the winter schedule. There are just a few real quickly. Some additional service on the N24 on Sunday, some additional service on the N43 on Sunday, improving headways, especially in the peaks. And Sunday peaks are a little bit different, but at least it shortens the headways on everything on the 24 and the 43. Everyday schedules, more consistencies in times on the 4, the 6, the 40, 41, on the overnights, so that every overnight schedule doesn't look different. You know, we can be more consistent on those when we can, and that makes it easier. We want our schedules to be easy, right? Especially on the larger routes. As we've moved to headways on the 4 and the 6 and some other routes, you don't really need a paper schedule. You just go out, and in the peak, there's usually a bus within every 10 minutes, if not more. And it makes it much easier to do that. We're trying to get rid of some of that rider anxiety about not knowing when the bus is going to show up and everything around that. Part of that rider anxiety is understanding that not all our riders speak English proficiently. So we understand that, and we're moving toward rolling out things like a wordless timetable, or wordless schedule, or wordless signing, and all using icons. So that's part of it. There's also some new technology that we're looking at that is a QR code that automatically translates anything that you flash on. So no matter what language you use comfortably, you're able to read what we put out. Our website already translates into, I think, 180 languages. But we understand that not everybody is comfortable communicating in English, and this could help in a lot of cases. And then happy to report, after a long wait, we had digital kiosks in Mineola. Unfortunately, the company that supplied them didn't support the technology any longer, and all those kiosks had to come down. Unfortunately, that happened right at the peak of COVID. So trying to source technology, especially digital screens, and the software and hardware that has to go into that was very difficult. These got installed about a month ago in Mineola. They look 100% better than the old ones, and really are the technology that we're going to go to. At Rosa Parks Transit Center, we have the kind of the bulb kind of screens. Mm-hmm. We will go to this type of screen that's much easier to read at a distance eventually, when those are out of their useful life. So we've really learned a lot by putting these together. They also have service reports and service alerts at the bottom of them, and they do have a QR code also at the bottom so that you can flash that QR code. So our team worked very diligently to get those installed, and I thought they came out great. I do want to just recap again, Rosa Parks Hempstead Transit Center. We are on what we will call the final phase. There's never a final phase with as many people going through here all the time. We're going to be updating it all the time. But it will, once it's done, and the final phase, quote unquote, is starting here pretty soon, will include new terrazzo floors, new wall surfaces, new doors. So it's got a real cool feel to it. We're actually also redoing and supplying the convenience store a whole new store. We're going to give them fixtures so that it fits into the rest of the aesthetic in the area. So the whole look is much sleeker and much more modern, and it really, I think it's really going to look good. We'll start that work shortly on this phase. There will be some disruption. It'll be the same way we did the paint on the interior, and that is we'll block off sections at a time, because the floors have to be ripped up and poured and through that. But our depot manager there will help manage the process, and our team here will help communicate the process to everybody so that there's minimal disruption, but there will be some disruption. So, and that's my presentation. So again, fairly short. At this time, I'd like the record to show that I have given the two documents to the board, and that the board acknowledges receiving the documents.
Yep. we received those, everyone here has a hard copy, and as well as the people who are not here with us, they received an electronic copy.
Excellent, thank you. Ready to receive any questions from either
Yeah,
the
any
board or
Comments,
the
questions from the board?
public at this time?
I came here today and I had to, in preparation for that other event, meet somebody from the county exec's office who decided to hand me a complaint from people at UPS over here.
Mhm.
I don't know the run number, he didn't know the run number, but he says on Saturdays, they're very frustrated by an every 2-hour service. Now, this is what the complaint went into the county executive's office, and I'm just relaying it.
Got it.
I don't have any more information. I asked him, do you have who, do you have when, do you have a bus number, do you have a route number? He says, you know, it's like when you want something, you need the people that give you information. Now I'm a carpenter without a saw.
Okay, well, I'll call, the county executive's office and constituent affairs, and I'll see if I
And
can
when,
track it.
Pierre and, the assistant Pierre was the one that was here and
Okay.
said he was dealing with
All
it.
right, Joel, thank you.
Any other comments,
No,
questions?
all I have for Mr. Jack and Co, prayers all the time. You know, because you guys, it's always progress.
Yeah.
And look at the scoreboard today, I'm happy with the scoreboard. On time performance is great. And ridership 80%, but like you say, if you can bring it up to 85, hopefully that will even be better. You know, I commend you guys, you're doing a good job, keep it up.
Thank you.
Great job. Good question.
Yes,
Thank
Ms.
you, thank you. The scorecard does look great, yeah, you guys are doing a good job, thank you. Do you have any, numbers projected that you wanted to share with us before the March meeting, or you won't really have anything?
Yeah,
You found it?
Yeah, I don't have any of the numbers off the top of my head to share, but they are a stable number that allows us to provide, again, the same hours of service that we currently provide with an inflation in there, with inflation, not the 7% we're living by, but a general inflator that we normally do, so.
There are numbers here that I
Yeah.
didn't know if it's appropriate for a question now.
Yeah, so, and I'm not prepared to speak to it right
Okay,
now.
sure.
Well, how about I ask the question and not ask for an answer, and that way you're prepared for March?
Okay.
That's, you know, I'm not looking to be unfair.
No, I appreciate that. It gives me lots of time to find an answer.
Yeah, when I'm looking at the pie chart and then the list under it of the operating expense budget, I know that the drivers are up for a contract,
Mhm.
and I'm just curious, the overall budget has an increase of about $13.5 million, and it looks like half that money goes towards operator wages, and there is some stuff about fringe benefits
Mhm.
that was up about $1 million.
Mhm.
My question is, are we certain, or is the negotiation gonna be done before the budget, that we know that this covers the new numbers?
Yeah.
Cause I know this is a projection,
Mhm.
and, that would concern me, because I know from what I've heard from drivers that their medical stuff, they pay 80, the company pays 20, and their pension is a 401k, not a real pension, and they're looking for a real increase in salary. So, I don't know if these numbers cover what they're looking for and what's gonna get negotiated.
Yeah.
So that's what raises those thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah, and what I'll say is, we've taken into account a reasonable and fair.
But when you do something like this and print it, doesn't that influence them to say, hey, we want more than that? We know you got that, we want more.
Potentially,
Okay, yeah, I just, you know,
yeah, but potentially, but again, it's not our goal. Our goal is to be reasonable and fair.
oh, I
Yeah.
understand that, but
Mhm.
when you go and you put the banana in front of the monkey,
Mhm. But.
and the monkey says, you got that, he wants to say, well, you got another one?
Right, right, but again, we're a public agency, we have to print and, you know,
Okay.
and we have to, everybody uses the tools they can. Let's put it
Okay,
that
but
way.
I'm just saying, you know,
Yeah.
those are my concerns.
Yeah.
of what I glanced at, cause
Yeah.
while I was here early, I
So
actually,
hopefully by March, there'll be.
Yeah.
sort of
Yeah.
actual-
no, but that's what I'm saying, I'm
Yeah.
not asking you to have a definitive answer now.
Right, yeah, appreciate it, yes, appreciate it, Joel, and I'll report back in June how that all shakes out. Cause the contract negotiations on the CBA will start in April.
And when is the date they expire?
April.
Oh, so you're going to the deadline to talk?
Pretty much, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, so.
Hey, you know what you're doing, I just, think when people talk to me, us, whatever, that we should have some kind of an answer instead of an I don't know.
I appreciate that.
They can't know until they have the.
Right, but
the
here's-
negotiations on those.
Here's numbers that
Those are
they've put
probably,
in.
I mean, I don't know, but I'm gonna speculate they're projected from, the previous year's increases, and then they just go by whatever the general percentages are in their contractual agreement for employment.
Right, but inflation and what people want now is,
Well,
More.
I know, I would like things too, but I mean, I'm bound by,
Yeah.
the terms of my
I'm-
employment.
I'm just
No, I
looking,
hear, totally get what you're saying.
I'm looking into what the hard numbers are in front of us. We acknowledge receiving it, so I'm acknowledging I read it.
I appreciate it.
Okay, so at this time, there's no more questions from the board, we'll move on to any public comments.
Go right ahead.
Okay.
Sir, you don't have
Notice-
to introduce yourself,
Oh.
I'm sorry.
Oh, do we?
Yeah,
Yes.
let's-
Yeah. Joe Torsivia, Levittown, New York.
Can you spell
Spell
your
your
last
last
name?
name.
Torcivia.
Thank you.
Now, what's different about this picture? Since I've been coming here.
you're smiling.
This is the first time I've come without any pre-written notes on things that were wrong or that I would like to see changed. Thank you. You have, in general and specifically on my route, the N49, you have achieved a level of service that a few years ago I didn't think was ever possible again. And as I say, I come here to speak off the cuff now. I don't have a list of bad things to say. They're just well done, all of you. Just one thing, the Saturday service, and I know you have to split it up with the 48, but the Saturday service should at least be hourly. It always was, and, but just this Sunday in particular, or this weekend, I should say, I had a choice of making a trip on Saturday or Sunday. I naturally went for Sunday because the schedule is more frequent than it is on Saturday. And I just kind of wonder, wouldn't the Saturday schedules need to be more frequent than the Sundays, given ridership and such? But I know you gotta split it with the 48, and that's the way it is. So there you are. That's my complaint, and oh yes, there are no posted schedules in Roosevelt Field. And the frame where the schedules once were looks to have been vandalized.
We'll look at that right away.
But I don't need that because I use Transit
Right,
app.
right, I appreciate that, yeah.
But well done, thank you all.
Thank you, Joe.
Yes, sir.
Yes, so my name is Carl Pereira, Carlperera, from New Hyde Park. I'm here with, I'm a member of Passengers United. And my question is, how does the fare revenue work with something like the MetroCard? When somebody say they're leaving Long Island, Nassau County, they swipe their card, and then later they swipe it to the subway, and versus the opposite direction, where somebody first uses the subway and then they transfer to the bus. How does the revenue get split with,
So-
do you have that
Yeah.
information? Just
So,
curious.
yeah, there is a formula that's pre-decided with the MTA, and every month we get all the data and they reconcile the transfers in that data. Either, we write a check or they write a check, and that's how they're reconciled. So it's all through the fare box and through the MetroCard Ag Stripe. It records all that, and understands, that there was a transfer, believe it or not. It doesn't seem like that much technology could be on a piece of paper, but, and an Ag Stripe, but there is enough for us to understand that.
Okay, thanks for that. Now, I did have another comment
Yes,
on
sir.
what somebody was mentioning about UPS
Mhm.
around, the service to this whole area in general. It occurs to me there's a lot of congestion in Roosevelt Field. It might make sense to, have like a shuttle route from Mineola along on the railroad station, have a few shuttle routes, with more frequent service from Mineola to Roosevelt Field. Because instead of having every route go into Roosevelt Field and slowing down those routes, maybe if those routes went just like, say, the N24, went from Mineola to Jamaica, and then a shuttle route which operates every 5 minutes around the clock would do all the turns and all the stuff that a bus could get caught in traffic.
Yeah,
See, like my two members here were delayed
yeah.
because at Roosevelt Field. So if they were
Actually, we did come through Roosevelt Field.
they come through Roosevelt
Yeah.
Field, but I'm saying that's where
Yeah.
they came.
Yeah.
So maybe if there was a shuttle route from Mineola to Roosevelt Field and then went into this whole hub area,
Yeah.
went to Roosevelt Boulevard, down Hempstead Turnpike, that whole hub area should be looked at for high frequency to the shopping centers and all that. That would speed up the main routes, the trunk routes.
That is
Thank you, Mr. Pereira, thank you. I'm so sorry, I hate doing this, but we do limit the public comments to 2 minutes, so
Okay, thank
we've
you.
gone quite over that, but thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
Oh, 2 minutes, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yeah, let Yuki go.
Yuki?
Yuki? Yeah. Where do you want me to start? Up here? Oh, right here? Okay, very well, thank you. My name is Yuki Endo, resident of Jackson Heights, Queens, and I represent Passengers United. I hope you guys had a wonderful Christmas and New Year's. I am asking to bring direct N20, N22 buses, as it was because N20GH riders play dangerous Frogger. N22X should operate more service, but instead of Old Country Road, Country Seat Drive, Willis Avenue, N22X should stop at Old Country Road, 3rd/4th Avenues, because it's painful to walk to or from Mineola Station or Mineola Boulevard, 2nd Street to Old Country Road, County Seat Drive, Willis Avenue. It would be easier. And I'll note for the record that there are photographs also depicting this. I enjoy the Nice Bus Mini. This morning on 10:45 a.m., N4 Freeport number 1878 bus had MTA fare box broken down. I'm asking Nice Bus to expand weekend service on Nice Bus's Ride Mini, especially in the summer. When you say weekend service, you mean just because it's currently Monday through Friday? Is that correct? Okay, thank you. My blind vegan friend from Point Washington also enjoys the mini ride from Merrick Stop and Shop to Nautical Miles N62 bus stop. I would also like to see this expanded on discontinued segment of the N45, N50, N51, N73-74, and N46-47 buses to make either of those as well. I am grateful that you restored the N54-55 back to Amityville Station. I also like summer N88 weekend trips to be extended to and from the Mineola bus station, where Hofstra University and Adelphi University shuttle buses drop off/pick up. I'm also excited for new electrical buses. I also want Nice Bus and MTA to work together to implement OMNY readers, readers, since MTA MetroCard will be ending possibly in 2023. I am grateful Nice Bus Ride Mini Bus was introduced, but it's not as much of a help since it's not door-to-door service. Lynbrook Library is not inside the zone. One of the Nice Mini riders said they want this to operate on weekends. I would also like the restoration of weekend N27 buses between Glen Cove and Roosevelt Field Mall, because LIRR mainline weekend shutdown without any shuttle buses are making Mineola, Carl Place, Westbury, and Hicksville ghost towns. It would be better if this ran on weekends, since I'll be able to go to Nautical Mile for shark protests in South Freeport for $2.75, even though I support a $6 taxi from Taxi New York. N22 local needs to be restored direct bus because Mineola Station does not have enough space for buses to pull over. I would like to see the N33 bus restored Sunday service as well. Also, doing USB area events.
Down to 3 minutes now.
Oh, I'm sorry, okay, Yuki, I'm gonna ask that maybe you can submit the last comments via email or onto, what's another method of submission?
This method, take a
Okay.
picture of it.
Okay, thank you, there we go,
And I will.
thank you, Chief.
Okay, oh, great, thank you.
Did he give us the line for that?
He did.
This is.
Yes, hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Charlton D'Souza, and I'm the president of Passengers United. It's my first time coming to the Nice Bus facility. We want to have a meeting with you, with the president of Nice Bus. We have we are getting a lot of complaints. And what was shown here today, I will say the new Gilix, much better. But the problem is, and I spoke to the vice president as well earlier this afternoon, but we would love to meet with you. A lot of improvements need to be made. Right now, the number one complaint we're getting is breakdowns. And there is no notifications being put out when there's a breakdown. And this is a serious problem. And it has to be addressed in a way that the public, the riding public, can understand. Because if you're waiting 45 minutes and 2 runs are missing, this is a big problem. And people have told me they've been stranded for over an hour and 30 minutes on Sundays. So this is something, yes, on the 41 route, which I know the 41 route poses a bunch of issues. And I know you guys are suffering with fare evasion. And I was just at Hempstead, I saw that. I was not happy with what I saw at Hempstead. I saw people drinking alcohol in the open. They've got to improve that, and they've got to work with the security. And in terms of the county, since you're the deputy county attorney, we need the county to be able to change the frequency on those traffic lights. Because throughout the county, the buses are getting stuck in traffic, 20-minute delays, 30-minute delays. Nassau County has to do better, and actually we want to meet with the Nassau County Commissioner. We'd love to meet with her, sit down with her, and just work some things out. Because with MTE, we have a very good relationship with Jano Lieber. We attend all the meetings. In terms of Omni, I did speak to Jano Lieber about the Omni situation with Nice Bus, and he did tell me that they are working aggressively to try to get that technology in, but obviously because of everything going on with COVID and the supply chains and everything, but we at Passengers United are committed to getting the Omni on the Nice buses. We're going to do press conferences, work with the elected officials, and get that done.
Thank you so much for
Sure.
all of your incredible efforts. We have reached the time limit.
Yes.
For your comments, but I welcome to our meetings. I hope to see you at more of them.
Yeah.
I think that you would have a lot of great contributions that can be made. And I welcome any other riders. The fare skipping, fare evasion has been brought to my attention. I understand that there are people who will get on the bus and just kind of quickly wave their phone and then just run to the back. And for understandable reasons, the drivers are hesitant to, approach or confront. So
And
that is,
one of the drivers was assaulted about a week ago. The door was punched at Hempstead Terminal. I saw the video of that. So, we need an open line of communication with the county and with the president. So we don't have to come here and spill all the dirty laundry. We don't
right.
want to do
No,
that.
thank you.
You know,
Thank you so much.
yes, all right.
Thank you.
There were some people that made comments with the rerouting of Brooklyn and Queens and Suffolk County. Is there any plan to do rerouting in Nassau? Was approached to me, and I said I hadn't heard one, because I had asked about this about a year ago.
Yeah, so, and our position hasn't changed. We've spent 10 years adjusting minor adjustments throughout the routing to address a lot of different things and changes in travel patterns. And at this time, we don't really see the value of a complete reimagine, as everybody has kind of branded it at this point. Not to say that something won't happen in the future. We talked a little bit about routing in the hub area. We have a lot of service in the hub area. As the Coliseum gets developed, and I think we saw something in the news today, as a matter of fact, as the Coliseum gets developed, that will spur us to re-engineer the routing in the hub to ensure that Mineola is being serviced and Hempstead's being serviced in a frequent, potentially Westbury, but in a frequent manner. So those are the things that really propel us, and more than anything else. Our ridership was growing before COVID, one of the few systems in the country with growing bus ridership. So I think that tells us a little bit that the routing is kind of working. Frequency is an important thing, and so we would like to put our efforts into ensuring frequency, potentially restoring some routes that we had to leave behind a while ago, implementing more Mini, expanding the Mini service.
Yeah.
So all those things are, hopefully in the works and at the top of our head. But a whole system redesign, probably not in the way that it's been done in the past, so.
So I got the questions.
Yeah, certainly.
The other last thing, and I'll leave everybody alone with this final comment, is we get very little audience participation. And a lot of people are commenting that maybe we should start the meetings at like 7 o'clock and do a little better publicity to get the word out.
Well, we'll look at everything. Anytime we move a meeting or move it to 7, then we lose some people that can't get here at 7, or we move board members, or, we lose. So it's just a matter of looking at everything.
Just in view of what Joel said,
Uh-huh.
I first began attending these meetings once I retired,
Right.
because I could not attend them while I was actively working.
Yeah. So maybe that'll be something for the board to bring up the next time we have a full board. So,
A hybrid meeting
Under
would be good.
advisement. Thank you.
Any other last comments from any board members?
I don't think further at this time.
All right, you have anything else?
No, nothing else.
All right, any member like to make a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Uh,
All right, this stands adjourned.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks for watching. To stay up to date with Passengers United, please subscribe and follow us on social media.